Carolyn Jones's life fell apart after the black dress made her famous. After the end of the Addams Family, casting directors only saw Morticia. She got separated and was desperate, so she married again in 1968. Her new husband told her that Hollywood was done with her. She now lives in Palm Springs. He had full control over her. She wasn't seen for 7 years when she was at her best. In 1977, when she finally got away, she had $3,700 and nowhere to go. This is the sad story Carolyn Jones had to go through. Joan Sue Jones was born in Amarillo, Texas, on April 28, 1930. That name was written clearly on her birth certificate, but 2 months later, a second copy was made that changed the spelling to Carolyn. Julius, her barber father, wasn't even living with the family at the time. Chloe, her mother, was staying with her parents at 2102 Hayden Street just 11 days before the birth. Her father had moved to Midland, Texas. For Carolyn, her life has been full of little secrets from the start. Some people said she was 100% Native American and directly related to the famous Apache chief Geronimo. This was one of the stranger things people said about her. This story was told over and over again in interviews, books, and even the Texas Handbook. When people looked into it though, her sister said it was just a PR stunt. It was the chief's real great-grandson, Harlan Geronimo, who said that their family was the only one with descendants. There was never any proof that Carolyn was Apache or Comanche. It was just another trick from Hollywood. She was shy and alone as a child. She didn't want any friends and didn't have many. She instead ran away to the movie theater. She knew she wanted to be an actor by the time she was 6. Her mother told her to do it. Chloe was so crazy about movies that she named her girls after 2 of her favorite actresses, Carol Lombard and Bette Davis. Though Carolyn was quiet, she loved making up stories and would tell anyone who would listen. She wasn't just pretending, she was getting ready. But things were not easy at home. She was only 4 years old when her father left and never came back in 1934. Her mom was having a hard time. Chloe couldn't work because she had serious agoraphobia. The little family had no choice but to live with Carolyn's parents and grandparents. Her grandfather, who worked for a company that made tools, now had to feed 3 more people. It was loud, tense, and the house was small. He had a bad temper and would often lose it without notice. Carolyn sunk deeper into her own thoughts and made up stories and personalities to deal with her feelings. Besides that, she was really sick. Carolyn had asthma that got worse over time and often put her life in danger. She couldn't even go outside for weeks because she was too weak to leave her bedroom. She didn't get to go to school or play games or enjoy easy things. But she found something strong during those long, lonely days. She thought about whole scenes while listening to funny radio shows. She used fan magazines as guides to learn how actors posed, how movies were made, and how stories went. Even though her body was weak, she couldn't stop being creative. She put all of her energy into school after she got a little bigger and her asthma got better. She did really well in school at Amarillo High. She did really well in elocution class. Her voice, which was smooth, beautiful, and strangely adult, became her trademark. She beat kids from Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico to win first place in the Tri-State Declamation Contest by her junior year. In speech and acting, she kept getting more and more awards. After she graduated in 1947, she set her sights high. She wanted to visit the Pasadena Playhouse in California, which is a place where serious artists learn how to do their jobs. Her grandfather didn't like it. He wished she would become a doctor or a lawyer. She broke down and cried on the steps of the dome at Southern Methodist University while he was taking her to sign up. He agreed to pay her Pasadena school fees. Carolyn was pure when she had that raw fire and wouldn't give up on her dream. She moved to California when she was records show she may not have been that old, maybe 15, but she said she was 18 to get into the Playhouse. No one could prove her wrong and she was set on her goal. She worked hard for 3 years and was in every play she could. She even went on traveling theater trips. She never looked back at Texas again. Instead, she buried her lonely childhood in fame and success. But Hollywood didn't just welcome talented people, she knew she had to change more than just her address. She had painful plastic surgery to change the shape of her nose to fit 1950s beauty standards. It hurt a lot and cost a lot. She spent all of her money and dyed her hair platinum yellow to look her best. That money was well spent. An agent saw her in a small theater and set up a screen test for her. She was offered a 6-month deal by Paramount. While her family was happy, Carolyn softly thought about what she had become. She didn't just change how she looked. She worked with a dialect teacher every day for hours to get rid of her Texas accent. To look like a movie star, she learned how to walk, sit, and hold herself. She imitated the movements of well-known actors until those movements felt like her own. Her clothes went from being simple to being stylish. Some people who knew her in Texas no longer knew who she was. And sometimes she didn't either. She got married in 1950. His name was Don Donaldson, and he used to be an officer in the Air Corps. They went out together for a year after meeting at a play. As a young woman of 20, she got married. It could have been for love or for security, but the marriage quickly fell apart. Donald didn't like how she looked or how other guys were looking at her. He had wished for a wife. Carolyn wanted to be famous. After only 16 months, they broke up. Another step that had to be given up for the dream. There was no plan for Carolyn Jones to be the star that night. It was just her job to help out. Carolyn had only hours to get ready, though, because the lead actor at the Players Ring Theater left quickly to get married. The show had to go on. As she stepped into the part, her nerves were on edge. But something clicked as soon as she walked on stage. It wasn't just good that she did well. It was exciting. And in the crowd, a top talent agent noticed. Everything changed that night. Her first movie came out quickly. In 1952, she got a small part in the noir movie The Turning Point, which starred William Holden and Edmund O'Brien. Even though she wasn't given credit for her part, it got her started. Angel's Flight and the Olympic Auditorium, two well-known places in Los Angeles, were used to film the movie. Carolyn didn't have much screen time, but her face stood out. Still, TV was taking away viewers, and companies were cutting costs. When her contract was up, Paramount fired her and 16 other workers. Carolyn laughed it off, but she knew things were going to get hard from now on. Then the wonderful chance came along. She was asked to do a screen test for From Here to Eternity in 1953. She was set to play Alma Lorraine Burke until the night before the test. Carolyn got cold and coughed up at 104 degrees. She was taken to the hospital right away. Lungs were already weak from having asthma as a child. She had to leave. Donna Reed got the part and won an Oscar for it. Carolyn could only watch as her big chance passed her by, but she wasn't done yet. She got a big part in Invasion of the Body Snatchers in 1950. She played Teddy Belisic, a scared woman whose husband finds a fake alien living in their house. People who saw the movie during the Cold War felt something. Later, some people saw it as a warning against following the crowd and losing your own identity. Carolyn stood out not only because of how well she played the part, but also because she brought feeling and wit to a genre that is usually full of crying damsels. The part she played showed she was more than just a pretty face. Hitchcock hired her for The Man Who Knew Too Much that same year. She played a beautiful friend caught in a web of mystery with James Stewart and Doris Day. It wasn't the first time she had met Hitchcock. She had played a secretary who helped her boyfriend steal an expensive vase in an episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents a year before. Hitchcock liked her so much in the part that he brought her back. She looked more trustworthy after working with him. She was no longer just a growing star. They knew they could trust her as an actor. They met in the early 1950s. His name was Aaron Spelling, and he was skinny. She had already worked on movies like House of Wax. Even though Aaron was selling plane tickets, they quickly became friends because they were both outsiders trying to make it in Hollywood. She was farther along than most people. He worked hard still. They clicked right away. They were in love by 1953, but Aaron couldn't ask her to marry him. He didn't think he deserved it. Carolyn was sick of having to wait. She asked him to marry her, something that didn't happen in the 1950s. Aaron said yes right away, which shocked his friends. It was a sign of how they would be together. She showed everyone how to live and love. On April 2, 1953, they got married. Carolyn even became Jewish to make it official, but she had no plans to have children. She said it wasn't fair to have kids she couldn't put first. In the 1950s, when babies were all the rage, that was shocking, but Carolyn knew who she was. She wasn't going to do both working and being a parent at the same time. They were living well by 1958. They built a huge house with 13 rooms, a tennis court and a soda shop. Carolyn had 260 pairs of shoes in her closet and wore fur coats and lots of jewelry. Everyone in Hollywood knew the house, but it was also a lonely place. Aaron began staying out late. Carolyn saw, but she didn't say anything. Their beautiful picture was breaking. She never stopped being there for him though. She thought Aaron should write instead of act. She told him, "You'll never act again," after seeing him mess up a line in Kismet. She pushed his stories, put him in touch with the right people, and played parts she didn't want to keep them going. She even put him in touch with Dick Powell, who would change his life. But by the time Aaron became famous on TV shows like The Mod Squad, Dynasty, and Beverly Hills 90210, they were no longer married. In 1964, they got a divorce. Carolyn had been the main source of income for years, but she didn't ask for alimony. She didn't take anything with her, just as Aaron was getting very rich as a Hollywood producer. Carolyn Jones looked very different when she arrived on the set of The Bachelor Party in 1957. Her hair was shockingly short and jet black. It used to be strawberry yellow. The group was shocked, but it wasn't just for looks. It was a well-planned move. She had changed how she looked before, years ago. How you stand, speak, dress, and surgery. After learning that talent alone wouldn't get her the parts, she changed everything. This time though, the change was different. The character's dark hair and tired eyes looked great with their look. Her scenes were short, but I will never forget them. No one could take their eyes off of it. That scary, sharp look turned into her new name. And it worked. She became a screen personality that no one could ignore in what seemed like an instant. She was only on screen for 6 minutes and 1 second. There you have it. It was enough to shake up the business world. She got a nomination for Best Supporting Actress at the Oscars in 1958, even though her act was one of the shortest ever to do so. There are 552 votes for Judi Dench, and 219 votes for Hermione Batali. "Just tell me you love me," was her line. You don't have to mean it. Getting stuck in people's minds. It was more than just delivery. It hurt. It was clear that she was lost, tired, and honest in a way that hurt. She was praised by critics as if she had carried the whole movie. Even though she didn't win, just being nominated was enough. She was no longer just another actor. People were looking for her to play the part. Things went off again the next year, in 1958. After her part in Marjorie Morningstar, she won the Golden Globe for Most Promising Newcomer Female. This time she played Marcia Zelenko for more than 6 minutes. The part showed how versatile she is. Powerful, dramatic, and emotional. She won the Golden Laurel Award for Best Female Supporting Performance that same year. That choice wasn't made by a reviewer. People who owned theaters and put on shows and saw how the crowd responded said that these weren't just awards. They showed that her name wasn't just a passing fancy. She was becoming a real force. King Creole then came along. Jones played Ronnie with Elvis Presley, in what is still thought to be his best movie. There was more to it than just a sweet touch. Some people said she was both devastating and impressive. You listened to her. You wished she could get away from the sadness in her eyes. He later said it was his best part. Jones was a big reason why it worked. There was a lot of praise for the movie. It was ranked number 5 on Variety's list of the best movies of all time. Jones and Presley's chemistry lit up the screen and made the movie a musical thriller into something more. In 1959, she did a weird thing for an actor who was trying to stay huge. She gave up the part that was more exciting. For her job, she was cast as Sharon Kensington. It was a bigger and more exciting part. But she switched roles with Shirley MacLaine and played Shirley Drake instead. Shirley Drake is an old, tired agent who used to be an actress and now helps other people follow their dreams. It was brave, and it paid off. What critics said, it was her best work. The person was broken, smart, tough, and soft all at the same time. There was a line she said about the House Un-American Activities Committee that gave you an idea of how complicated her thoughts and the movie were. Career didn't make money, even though it got a lot of praise, which meant something was changing. The movie business wasn't giving her what it used to. The Addams Family then came. By 1964, the most important culture events were being shown on TV. She also became the Gothic queen of TV when she was 35 years old. Morticia Addams was pale, beautiful, and eerily calm. Why did she get that part? Aaron Spelling, her ex-husband. He told the people in charge to not hire Joan Huntington, and instead hire Jones. Charles Addams, the artist who made the Addams Family, even signed his name. Jones had already shown what she could do, but Morticia made her famous. She and the show were both big hits. She became a huge star in just a few weeks. But what no one saw was how much pain she was in behind the scenes. It was terrible to wear that tight black and beautiful dress. It was made to look just like the picture, so she could hardly move. It was a trap with the mesh, corseted waist, short skirt, and sleeves. Miss Angelica Houston, someone who wore a similar outfit in the 1990s, said it gave her headaches, made it hard to sit down, and made her tired by noon. Jones went through the same thing, but you'd never know it by seeing how she moved around the set like a ghost. Then there was the love story, which happened on the show. Death and Gomez wanted to be together, not just loved each other. They were crazy when TV couples slept in different beds and barely touched. Gomez would kiss her arms over and over, talk in her ear, and look deep into her eyes. It felt electric and shocked me. This was TV from the 1960s. So here was a couple acting like they were married every night. People loved it when they broke the rules. It was more than just chemistry. It was a protest against the idea that being married had to be dull. But it was over as quickly as it began. It was only 2 seasons before ABC ended The Addams Family in 1966. There was never a good reason given. Some say it was because Batman was out there. Some people blame Hogan's Heroes. Some people think the network didn't know how to make the scary black and white show color. It was over, no matter what the reason. Jones was only 37 years old. She was Suddenly though, there was no money, no contracts and no security. She did all the right things. Even with talent, change, awards and new ideas, the rug was still pulled out from under them. Carolyn Jones was dying to get away from Morticia Addams by 19. She became well known for the part, but now she felt like it was a trap. She went back to Broadway in the hopes that the stage would treat her with respect. She became a part of the cast of The Homecoming by Harold Pinter. It looked like an important part in a well-known production. It turned out to be a disaster. The writing made her feel bad. It was cold in the cast. People who didn't like her kept bringing up her TV past. There were people who didn't even care how she felt. In front of everyone, they just called her mom. Every night, Carolyn tried to stay strong, but the event wore her down. She later told her friends that it was awful. She didn't like anything. She was having a terrible time because her dream of being taken seriously as a dramatic actor had turned into a nightmare. Things could not have gone worse. She was already going through a divorce, and her job was stuck. Broadway had been her way to get away. It broke her instead. She made a hasty choice at that sad time that would stay with her for years. She married Herbert Green, her voice teacher, on December 19, 1968. People on Broadway liked him. He got a Tony. It looked like a good idea at first. Someone from her world who knew how hard things were for her. But after a few months, friends knew something was wrong. Green was in charge. He did things behind her back, like answer her questions, and treated her like a child. Someone else at work called him the worst kind of hustler. Soon he told her she should stop acting for good. He said that Hollywood was no longer interested. He told her she was too old He made her doubt herself. He talked her into quitting her job and moving to Palm Springs. She was no longer in Hollywood by 1970. Green had moved her to a big house in the desert, 10,7 miles away. She didn't know anyone there. Yes, he did. It made him even stronger. She didn't leave the house very often. They went to only 3 events in 7 years, and Green was always with her. His hands got on her. He said no to job offers without telling her. From the outside, it looked like she had just retired. The truth was that she was being erased. People in the neighborhood saw her walking by herself and thinking she was lost. Her friends couldn't get in touch with her. The woman who used to be the talk of every party in Hollywood was now just a ghost in the desert. Carolyn Jones wasn't seen or heard from 1968 to 1975. She missed parts that could have brought her back. Strong, mature women like Anne Bancroft and Glenda Jackson were being cast by directors. Carolyn never even had a chance to try out. People in the business world started to wonder where she was. Aaron Spelling, her ex-husband, was becoming one of the most powerful TV directors. But Carolyn was getting weaker. From age 38 to 45 she was at her best, but no one would talk to her. It was as if she had never been there. Not only did it hurt her job, but it also hurt who she was. Carolyn had been performing since she was a kid. It was not only her job, it was who she was. Green took that away. Her friends saw that she wasn't herself anymore. Her strength was gone. She no longer had a spark. She told one friend that she had nightmares often and that she would forget her lines on set. Her asthma got worse. Green told her not to talk about her past and took away her awards. By 1975, seemed and behaved differently. In the end, she said that she had been surviving instead of living. The change was clear even in pictures. It looked like she was tired. Her eyes were blank. Things changed though in 1977. She went to a friend's house one night and watched an old episode of The Addams Family. It hit her hard to see herself on screen. Brave, funny and no fear. She didn't like the woman she had become. That event started a fire. She planned something. Green packed her things and left for a work trip. She didn't have anywhere to go and only $3,700. She stayed with her old co-star John Astin until she could find a place of her own. She was back in Hollywood at age 46. Things had changed. The old recording gear was gone. There were lots of new people in the business, but Carolyn wouldn't give up. She began to call people. She went door to door. She begged to meet with people. In August 1977, she got a part in Roots, which was one of the most popular TV shows of the decade. After that came Wonder Woman. She was in 15 plays between 1977 and 1981. It wasn't easy for her to come back, but she did. Jones changed her job in a big way in 1977. In the TV drama Roots, she played Mrs. Moore. That show would change American TV forever. Based on Alex Haley's strong book, it told the story of slavery in the United States. Almost 130 million people watched. That's almost all of the country was a part of this event that made history. She was a part of the white power scheme that the other characters had to deal with. Jones looked forward to the chance to show that she could handle more than just the dark humor she was known for. Another thing that changed was that she didn't want to be known as just Morticia Addams. That's exactly what she did with Roots. The praise from critics really helped her come back. Since she was nominated for an Oscar 20 years ago, she showed that she was still good. In the same year, something strange took place. She got back together with Aaron Spelling, her ex-husband, but not alone. Jones was on both Fantasy Island and The Love Boat, which were both made by Spelling. They split up in 1965, after being married for 12 years. Jones was on the rise in Hollywood at the time they met, while Spelling was still having a hard time. She had actually asked him to marry her, and helped him with his work from the start. She even said she would leave if he didn't take writing seriously at one point. She pushed him to become one of the most powerful creators in TV. Jones, on the other hand, felt ignored as Spelling's success took off. As she once told Hedda Hopper, he's married to the job. Still, they kept getting along. Jones would even joke about how tall he was, saying that directors were too short as a joke that showed they stayed friendly through it all. As Jones's job got better, she fell in love one last. She met Peter Bailey Britton when she went back to Hollywood. Before they got married on September 25, 1982, they were together for 5 years. Her fourth marriage, and the one she loved the most. Doctors had told her a year ago that she had stomach cancer. She told her friends she had ulcers to keep it quiet. But she knew the truth, and she married Bailey Britton even though she knew the cancer would come back and kill her. She still went ahead. She had been married 3 times before she finally found someone who would be there for her. They were married for a short time. Jones died on August 3, 1983. But Bailey Britton stayed with her all the way to the end. She told her sister that she wanted her obituary to say, "She brought joy to the world," before she died. That line told you everything you needed to know about her. She kept working even though her health was getting worse. She played Myrna Clegg in 1982, on the CBS soap opera Capital. A big part was played by Myrna. She was a bossy grandmother who was in a nasty fight with Clarissa, who used to be her friend. The show was about politics and took place in Washington, D.C., and Myrna was in the middle of it all. But Jones was fighting cancer away from the screen. She shot scenes while in a wheelchair, even though it hurt so much that most people couldn't handle it. She was too sick to keep going by April 1983. Marla Adams took over for a short time, and then Marge Ducey did. Jones had worked hard to keep playing for as long as she could. Her performance gave her one last strong part in a career that included more than 90 movie roles. But her fight didn't start on Capitol. It all began in the sky. In the beginning of 1981, she quickly got very sick on a flight from Dallas to Los Angeles. She just made it to the bathroom in time to throw up blood while other people on the train watched. Shock. Jones kept his cool. No one called for an emergency. She got to the hospital on her own and had surgery right away. A piece of her stomach was taken out by doctors. She told her friends it was just sores. But after a few weeks, she found out the truth. She had advanced colon cancer. She had just gotten her job back and found love again when she was 51. She was now in the middle of a secret war. She chose not to tell anyone. There is no pity and no news. During painful surgeries and treatment, she kept quiet and did her best to fit it all around work. After her last marriage, she spent years alone in Palm Springs, far from Hollywood. She wasn't going to let cancer take it all away again now that she was back. Her drive was truly amazing. She even refused painkillers while shooting to keep her acting strong. By 1983, her body had been through enough. She was less than 90 pounds and the cancer had spread to her liver and stomach. She didn't give up. Peter and she got married in September of that year in a small emotional wedding. She hid the fact that she was losing her hair with a lace cap. She kept her sense of ease through everything. In July, she fell asleep at home after a long day on the set. She died on August 3 with Peter by her side. She was only 53. Her mother, who had also died of cancer 4 years before her, was buried next to her ashes. But people did not forget about Carolyn Jones. Before she died, she made plans for the Academy to keep her Morticia Addams outfit and wig. After that, her husband gave original Addams Family scripts to UCLA. The show only had 2 seasons, but Jones made Morticia a character that people will never forget. Experts now say that the character was innovative because she mixed dark humor, sexy energy, and mother love in a way that no other woman on TV had done before. That's not all Morticia was. She was scary and strong. People thought women should be quiet, but she stood out.